We are back here on the Lynne Hayes Freeland Show. We are talking about 2 days that have the potential to change your life if you're a woman living in the city of Pittsburgh, a professional woman living in the city of Pittsburgh. It is 2 days sponsored by PWN. Danielle Parson, Reesha Jackson are here to talk about it. Danielle, you're up first. January 8th and 9th. What's happening those 2 days?
So this will be our fifth annual Women's Empowerment Experience. So because it's our fifth year, and of course, because of COVID, we can't be in person, but we also wanted to do something special for our fifth year. So we extended it for 2 days, and we wanted to bring some of our top events, the events that when we were in person brought the largest crowd. So that includes our wine experience, that includes our executive roundtable sessions, and that includes our keynote messaging that comes with our luncheon. So we put all those great powerhouses into 2 days. So that first day on Friday, January 8th, that evening, we'll come together for a great social event and a lively wine tasting in partnership with Hughes Society based in Atlanta. And Tahiri Habib, she focuses on wines bottled and produced by African Americans and women. So it's our audience. She shows us how you take wine, and it's not just about a great glass of wine, but it's also about a social event. It's also like how the golf course is for men and their businesses. That's how a glass of wine can be for us ladies. So we'll have a virtual wine tasting on Friday, and then Saturday we'll have our executive roundtable sessions. So what's unique about our executive sessions are they came directly from what our network asked us for. So like I mentioned, we started this based off of my experience in Pittsburgh and talking to other women about what they needed. So then when we had our luncheons and we kickstarted the year together, they were like, we want more. And what I want more of an intimate setting where I can sit down with a woman and say, this is what I'm going through at my job. Have you experienced this before? What does this look like for you? So that's how we created the executive sessions. So we're going to do it virtually. We have 12 women, and because we're virtual, we have women from across the state. So we have women from across several states. So we will have intimate breakout sessions virtually where women will be able to get fed. That's the best way that I can put it. We share successes, we share failures because, I know the saying goes that, you have to learn from from your mistakes, like you have to learn on your own, but you really don't have to. The smartest professionals, they learn from someone else's mistake. And that's what we want to do. We want to teach you where we messed up at. And then I want to know where you messed up at. And I don't want to make that same mistakes. I want to hear your successes. I want to know how you started your business and how I can possibly start mine. Some businesses started and are flourishing through COVID. How did that happen? What was your game plan? How did that work for you? So that's our executive sessions. And then we'll wrap up with our keynote messaging with Monique Rodriguez. She is the founder and CEO of Mayel hair care line. Most Black women definitely know her hair care line because it's one of the few products that works well for many of us. And she not only founded a great business that now has gone from her passion to going to a global brand, she has a story of triumph. And I just don't want to give it all away, but she has a story of triumph. So you're going to learn more about her resiliency and what came behind that business. She didn't just wake up and one day was able to have this, $1 company, billion-dollar company. That wasn't how this started. There's some heartache in there, some heartbreak in there, but it's some resilience. And that's what we are all going through right now. The theme of the event is the power and the unknown. And that's what we're living in right now. So she's going to help navigate us through that. So it's going to be 2 very exciting days.
So, Reesha, when I listened to Danielle talk about all 3 of these, just on the surface, and you talked about, you going to help and then eventually getting involved, I could see where you would connect at all 3 of those events.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely all 3 of those events are just amazing platforms. And just like she said, learn from people's failures, definitely as a business owner myself. And even just listening, kind of looking at the speakers as she brought them to me and just researching their platforms and amazing things they've done. It's like, wow, I don't need to go the long path if I don't have to. If there's a shortcut that I can take learning from these women, why not? Even the the keynote speaker, she has a podcast. I started listening to her podcast and just the tips and tricks on how to be resilient during these COVID times. That's something that I didn't even think of, the tips you were given, I'm not gonna give it away. I'm gonna tell you, go listen. Were just something I didn't even think of, but it was just very simple things. I'm like, oh, I can do that. I can do that. It just makes it seem easier to accomplish step by step and meeting women that are in the same circle, same space as me.
So let me ask you this, because I mean, you talked about your business. Now, was being an entrepreneur something that you always wanted to do, or how did you end up being a business owner?
No, it wasn't. I was gonna be of environmental law. That was like my thing. I was telling my cousin this since like I got to into college. I was like, I'm gonna be an environmental lawyer. No one ever heard of it. And then I finally met one at a career fair, and I was like, nah, I don't want to do
Not
that.
for me.
This is not for me. And my entrepreneur actually came kind of out of nowhere. Like I went to grad school at CMU. I was an employee, then I go to grad school, and as part of that, they kind of like take some of your pay. So I needed another form of income in, and I started doing weddings in Ohio with my best friend. I started doing weddings, and I was like, oh, this is profitable. It's like, let's do some more weddings. And then from weddings and went to like once grad school got heavy, I switched off and went to starting doing like apparel and shirts. And my name is Reesha. It's not very common. And my cousin's name is Shatisha. It's not common either. And I started making cups for us, like making cups and shirts for us. And once people saw that on Facebook and they were like, oh, I want that. I'm like, oh, wait, this could be profitable too. And it's a lot less time than a wedding.
Right.
So it's been constantly changing as I change. It's just been growing into this business that I hope to flourish and eventually be my mainstream of income.
There you go. Interesting. But those are the kind of stories, Danielle, I'm guessing that people get to share. And then you take away and you walk away, and it's like, well, wait a minute. Maybe I don't have to do this. I could do this.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, even how Reesha and I, came in contact, like she mentioned, Phoenix Events was our decor for our event. I didn't even know that we had been working with Reesha for years, and I wasn't familiar with her business. She was a vendor of, our vendor. So once I learned her name, then I was able to speak her name in spaces that I went to. Oh, you need some T-shirts you need some T-shirts made? Come on, I know Reesha. I can give you her information. You have mugs. You want a mug and a scarf to match? She has that too. So because I met her, I learned what her platform was. I can share her name in spaces that she might not be in. And eventually she will get in those spaces just as easily. But I'm going to say her name as many times as I can until that happens. And that's what we want for the women that are in the room. We want to learn each other's name and know each other. It could be as simple as, you're looking for a job. I found out that you're in HR and the HR manager at my job leaves. I know your name. I have had this conversation with you. I've learned about your experience and your background. We've had these intimate roundtable sessions with you. So I can pass over your resume. I can have that conversation, or I can coach you or mentor you or sponsor you. Because mentoring, that's that virtual stuff, my earpiece fell. So because mentoring and sponsor, are two different things. Mentoring you, I'm helping build you up. I'm helping you to get to that level that you want to be at. Sponsoring, you're there, and I'm just going to be able to help open those doors for you. So
hold that thought. Because you said something last year at the luncheon that I want to talk about too. And we got to tell folks how they can register. We'll do all of that when we come back, when the Lynne Hayes Freeland Show continues.